Alright, first and foremost, I want to say Kalalal, Hawa, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakar Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to all the brothers that's pushing this word in all sincerity and in truth. Now, this is an article from RT, which is Russia Today, Zine, and it's entitled Venezuela Sabotage Evil Russians. Times video games were just blatant US war propaganda. So now what the article is basically demonstrating is that the US works in alliance with Hollywood, right, and the CIA in production of entertainment. See, because most gaming companies, they form associations with the military to basically produce their content for the games, and it's showing you some situations where the missions undertaken within the games are missions suggested by the military, and that actually eventually plays out in the propaganda scheme of the US government, right? And it shows you know what they call this is that they call it a culture of consent. They use propaganda to create a culture of consent so that the people can agree when the US decides to make a move to go to war. Now let me just read a little bit of this. It says, it's long been known that Hollywood works hand in glove with the CIA to produce entertainment imbued with unsubtle pro-US message, right? But the use of video games as propaganda, while as common, is less talked about, right? So it's common as with the use of video games to promote propaganda is as common as how it's used in the movies, because you notice within the movies it's always about being pro-US, US invading Russia, US invading Colombia, US invading Venezuela. It's always about US invading some other country on the note of morality, of them being pro-people and pro-democracy. It's always on that basis. So they use a so-called propaganda culture to basically place on the people of that country to say that they are being oppressed, so that the US citizens can agree for the American military to go in there and basically overthrow the government of that particular country. Now these situations line up perfectly with how the scriptures say that the US is going to act, right? Now I'm gonna post this Lars willing, this article in the description box, but the meat of the matter that I want to get to is this section right here, right, where it says culture of consent. But before I get that, let me read this precept. This is the book of Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 2 verse 11 says, least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. No, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices, because this is one of the devices. This is one of the devices the American regime has used to basically justify their means of making war with other countries. Understand? The culture of consent. And the purpose that they make war for is to what? This is one of the reasons, as it says in the book of Micah chapter 2 verse 1, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. You see? So one of the ways how they practice this is in the propaganda push. You understand? And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. You see, this is a country that is of an oppressive nature, and they're oppressing every other country. They're oppressing Libya, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, now Venezuela. They're oppressing the Chinese. Seeing them encroaching on the Russian borders. All of these things they are doing in the light that they are right. They are doing it through promotion of propaganda and demonizing other countries so that they can justify their actions. And this is what the article says. See? Culture of consent. So it says, former associate professor of communication and journalism at Suffolk University in Boston, Nina Hunterman, wrote in a 2010 paper that video games are a vital part of US government efforts to create a culture of consent for war. The people need to consent to our government participating in war. To do that, we need a whole process of teaching us from childhood that killing is a legitimate mode. It's lucky about that, the video just went out. Right? Let me see if it can focus. Anyways, let us continue reading. It says, the people need to consent to our government participating in war. To do that, we need a whole process of teaching us from childhood that killing is a legitimate mode of conflict resolution, and they do this via social engineering through video games, through Hollywood movies. And the narrative of those media instrument is that they are the ones that is going in to help a particular set of people and overthrowing that government. And you can see that being demonstrated in Venezuela right now, right? And the scripture says that they are going to do this, and I'm going to get that precept, and when I get that precept, I can close it down. It says it's no secret that the earliest forms of digital gaming were heavily funded by military spending, right? And in the article I can see where they have a budget of over 33 million, where they gave away a free game that basically demonstrated the process of a military career, right? It says, so continuing, it says, heavily funded by military spending. Not only do the processes of propaganda, not only for the purposes of propaganda, but also to develop tools to train recruits. Historian train recruits through their simulations and so forth. Historian Nick Durst told The Guardian in 2012 that by the late 1990s, the US Army was pouring tens of millions of dollars into the Institute of Creative Technologies at the University of Southern California, specifically to build partnerships with the gaming industry and Hollywood. Right? Video games and reality have become so intertwined that in 2010, when the United Nations called for a halt to CIA-directed drone strikes in Afghanistan and Pakistan, he warned that killings ordered from afar could lead to a PlayStation mentality. But if any more proof was needed that the US government sees video games as the perfect tool for soft propaganda, look no further than former CIA Director William Colby, who upon retiring from that job went to work for video game company Activision to develop spy drilling video games. Right? Now this is the precept. This is the book of Habakkuk 2 and 5. It says, yea, also because he transgressed by wine meaning his philosophies, doctrines, right? Which video games is a part of that, developing that mentality, right? He is a proud man, neither keep it at home. Nowhere does the American military go and they leave. That is a fact, right? Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, right? but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Right? And this was the same thing the Roman Empire was doing, likewise how the American Empire is doing, man. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and taunt in proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeneth himself with the clay. Right? So the scriptures show you exactly what this wicked nation is going to be doing in the time past, and this wicked nation is led by the basis of men, which is the Edomites. Those people, the so-called white race men, right? They are the ones that got the blessing of the sword, and they are using it to basically promote evil and atrocities upon the face of the earth, man. And with that, I want to say Kalalal, Lehawa, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakar Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to all the brothers that's pushing this work in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom.